Okay, so we are going to talk about perimeter and area of sectors of circles today. Okay, so first of all, what's a sector of a circle? What do you think? A chunk of it, a section of it, a part of it, okay? So in order to do any of this, we have to remember how to find the circumference and the area of circles. If we can't find the circumference or the area of a circle, we can't find a section of it. If we can't find the whole thing, okay? So I want you to take the next couple minutes. The formulas are there, right? Circumference is pi times diameter. Area is pi times radius squared, okay? I want you, for on these two circles, to find the circumference and the area of each circle. Take a couple minutes to do that on your own. Okay, use your calculator, use the formulas, round to the nearest 10. And I know lots of you are just writing an answer down, which that's fine, an answer is great. But write your work down also, because if you're asked how to do it, you're going to need to know what you put in your calculator. So write your work down also. Close your eyes if you want, but okay, for number 1, what did you get for the circumference? Mason. 28.3. 28.3, do we agree? You should have done 3.14 times 9, 28.3 feet. Pi times the diameter. Okay, how about area? What'd you get there, Ellie? 63.6 feet squared. 3.14 times the radius squared, and the radius is 4.5 squared. Perfect. Okay, how about number 2? What'd you get for the circumference? Celia? 94.2. Pi times 30, since the diameter would be 30. And then the area 15 squared times 3.14. Go ahead, Sydney. Absolutely. Pi times 15 squared. Okay, are we okay with that? Did any of us make mistakes? Everybody's perfect? If you made a mistake, what was your mistake? Are you willing to share, Thor?
I hit square root
Instead of squaring. Okay, so be careful of that. Remember, there's a difference between square root and square, right? So the little 2, make sure we're using the squared button, not the square root. Easy mistake. That can happen. Other people might have made the same mistake. So be really careful that we're using the right buttons on our calculator, okay? Maybe you use radius instead of diameter or diameter instead of radius. That happens all the time. Again, we got to be paying attention to what do we need in the formula, okay? So a sector of a circle, we talked about that just before, and we said that's a part of a circle. It's like a section of it. How do we find part of something? Any thoughts on how we would find part of something? Isaiah? Divide. Absolutely. Right? To find part of something, we just divide. If I want you to find half of something, that's a part of it, we divide by 2. If I want you to find a third of something, divide by 3. If I want you to find a tenth of something, divide by 10, right? So when we want to find a part of something, we're just going to divide by whatever part we want to find, depending on if it's a third, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth, whatever it might be. Maybe it's 2/3, okay? If it was, okay, so let me ask you this. To find 1/3, we would divide by 3. What if it was 2/3? What would we do then? Ellie? Not divide by 6. Because that would give me a 6th. Divide by 6 would give me a 6th. Emily? Right, or multiply by 2 then, right? So if I want 2/3, I'm going to divide by 3, then times by 2, because I want 2 of those. Okay, so on kind of the second half of the page there, we're not going to flip the page yet. Oops, I think I went too far. Okay, finding the perimeter of a sector of a circle. Okay, perimeter means what? The outside, right? Okay, so when we find perimeter, we want to be able to go around the outside of the section. Not the whole circle, just the section, okay? We are going to talk about that after lunch, so head to lunch. Okay, so on this circle, we want to find the perimeter of the sector that is shown. Okay, so the shaded section, which is 2/3 of the circle. Before we can find the perimeter, let's just kind of walk through what that means. To find perimeter, that means what? Perimeter means what? The outside. Okay, so if I start right here, and I want to walk around the shaded part, right? How far do I have to go right here? 7. And here, 7. So it's going to be 7 plus 7 plus this. Plus something. Okay, what does that something represent? Go ahead. Okay, so this part of the circle is part of what? The circumference. So this is really 2/3 of the circumference. Agree with that? Okay, so below it I have find the whole, find the part, and then find the perimeter. So let's start by finding the whole circumference, because we're going to need the whole way around to find part of it. So the whole circumference, C equals pi times diameter. What's the diameter of that circle? Diameter, Tyler? 14. So 3.14 times 14, that's 43.96. I'm going to just leave it at that for now. Okay, now I don't want the whole way around. I want part of it. And the part that I want is 2/3. So how am I going to find 2/3 of the circumference? Okay, so I'm going to take the circumference, 43.96, divide by 3, and then times by 2. I'm going to do that all at once in my calculator. 43.96 divided by 3 times by 2. I get 29.3. I'm going to round to the nearest tenth at that point. Is that the perimeter around the shaded part? Is that the perimeter? No, remember, what we just found is this. So this part is 29.3. So if I want the perimeter, I want to go all the way around. So the perimeter is 7 plus 7 plus 29.3.
How did we look at that all in at the same time? I couldn't hear.
43.96 divided by 3 times by 2.
Yeah, I couldn't hear.
43.96, hit the divide by button, 3 times 2. Okay, you must have had something else in there. So you get 43.3, and I forget, was this inches?
Well, how did I get 3?
Centimeters. Because you have 4.96.
Is that it?
43.96. So this is centimeters. Kind of makes sense? Kind of a process. Okay, a little bit of a process to get there. All right, flip the page. Go to page 12. Okay, so let's try this. Carlos is decorating a cake. He outlines 1/4 of the top of the cake with white frosting. What is the perimeter in inches of the section of the cake he outlined with white frosting? Okay, so I like to outline kind of trace what's being outlined. How much of the cake is he outlined? 1/4, right? Is that the gray part or the white part? The white part. So if I start right here, how far is this? 4, right? The diameter is 8, and this is 4, and then we need this. Let's call it X for now. So if I want to find the perimeter, it's going to be 4 plus 4 plus something. I got to find that something. The something is part of the circumference. So let's start with the whole circumference. How would I find the whole circumference? Mason.
3.14 times 8.
Times 8. Pi times diameter. 3.14 times 8 is 25.12. I don't want the whole thing. How much do I want? 1/4 of it. So what do I have to do with that number? Divide it by 4. So 25.12 divided by 4. 6.28, so 6.3. That's the number that goes in this blank. So the perimeter, 6.3 plus 4 plus 4. 14.3 inches. Done. Oh, I don't care about that one. No? Confused? Lost? Yes.
So that's the perimeter of that little piece.
That's the perimeter of this little piece. So that's if I started walking here and I walked here would be 4, here would be 4, and this would be 6.3. So when I put that all together, that's the perimeter. Okay? Okay, you try the next one on your own. So it says, for a math activity, Miss Elfring shaded a sector that is 1/3 of the circle. To the nearest 1/10 of a centimeter, what's the perimeter of the sector? So you find the perimeter of that sector. Feel like you got an answer? What's the perimeter? What'd you get for this final answer? Tanner? 20.5. And it would be centimeters. Agreed? Yes, no, maybe. Okay, let's work it out. Because some of you are looking at me like, that's not what I got. Okay, if I started walking right here and I'm gonna walk around the perimeter, how far would I walk right here? 5. Plus, this distance is 5. Plus something. Let's call it X. I'll just put a blank there. This right here is part of the circumference, right? It's part of the distance all the way around. So all the way around is pi times diameter. The circumference. So 3.14 times, what's the diameter? 10. 3.14 times 10 is 31.4. That's all the way around. I don't want to go all the way around. I only want how much of it? 1/3. So what do I have to do with this number? Divide it by 3. 31.4 divided by 3. I get 10.5. Okay, that's this right here. This right here is 10.5. This distance. So now when you add it all together, 5 plus 5 plus 10.5, you get 20.5 centimeters. Those of you that made a mistake, are you finding where your mistake was?
I thought that was a 4. I did 3.4 times 5.
Okay, so Landon saying he multiplied by the radius instead of the diameter. Yeah, okay, so you did the same thing. Somebody else said they divided by the wrong number. Instead of dividing by 1/3, or dividing by 3 since it was 1/3, they divided by 4. Okay, be careful. The problem will tell you how much of the circle it is. Okay, can we move on from perimeter? Okay, let's look at area. This is actually easier. Okay. Find the area of a circle that is shaded. If the shaded area represents 1/6 of the circle. Okay, area means what? The inside part. So I'm not walking around the outside and having to add things together. I just want to figure out how many squares does it take to cover this part of the circle, which is 1/6 of the circle. So if I find the whole area, what am I going to do? Divide it by 6 and we'll have the part of the area. Okay? So to find area, what do we do? How do we find area of a circle? Sydney. Area equals pi times radius squared. 3.14 times, what's the radius? Mason? 10 squared. So 3.14 really times 100 is 314. Okay, now you have to remember, that's the entire circle. We don't want the whole circle. We only want this little section of it, which is 1/6 of the circle. The part that is shaded is 1/6. So how am I going to find the part? Divide by 6. 314 divided by 6. Try that again. 314 divided by 6. 52.3 centimeters squared. Done. I don't have to add anything on. Right? With perimeter, we're going around it. We have to add those extra pieces. With area, we're just covering it. I'm done. That's it. Okay, so let's try one more. Mariana and her friends were eating a giant cookie. Like the ones at Andy's Tower Hills, right? Big cookies, right? And we're only able to eat part of it. There was 1/4 of the cookie left when they finished eating. What is the area of the part of the cookie they ate? So what if 1/4 of the cookie was left, how much did they eat?
3/4.
Go ahead, Ellie.
3/4.
3/4. Okay, they ate 3/4 of the cookie. We want to find the area of that part of the cookie. So let's find the whole area. Pi times radius squared. What's the radius of the cookie? Go ahead. 6. So 3.14 times 6 squared. I got 113.04. I don't want the whole cookie, right? We only want part of it. I want 3/4. How am I going to find 3/4 of that? Go ahead.
Divide by 4.
Yeah. 1/4 would be dividing by 4. I'm going to divide by 4 and then times by 3. So I want 113.04 divided by 4 times by 3. Divided by 4 times by 3. 84.8 inches squared. Done. That is the area. Okay. Questions there? Now, we're going to switch it up a little bit because I feel like we need a little bit of time to process this. Instead of me giving you the worksheet today, we're going to push things back till tomorrow. Okay? So I'm going to give you work time in class tomorrow. We're going to actually fill out our formula sheet tomorrow, and then I'll give you a worksheet to work on some of this stuff and get some extra practice on it. Okay? But what you're going to do today for the last 10 minutes, go to page 13 of your packet. On page 13, and this is not something you have to enter on Canvas. We're going to go over this tomorrow as a class. I want you to just do page 13 on your own. So you have 9 minutes. I would think you might be able to finish this. I want you to find the perimeter of the sector, that is 1/5 of the circle. So this little picture up here is 1/5 of a circle. I want you to find the perimeter of it and find the area of it. Okay?